Believe it or not, old Hollywood had some wild scandals that might seem even more shocking than what we hear about today. Back in the day, the big movie studios and powerful men could sometimes get away with very bad things, including murder, because society was different then. It wasn't just the men either. Many famous women also got into trouble with too much drinking and cheating in their relationships. From the 1920s to the 1960s, Hollywood had its most famous time, known as the Golden Age, but it wasn't always good for everyone involved. Keep watching to find out about the biggest secrets that Hollywood didn't want people to know. In 1921, Hollywood was rocked by its first big scandal. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle, a famous comedian, and Virginia Rappe, an actress who was not very well known, were at a party together. They ended up in the same hotel room. When other guests heard Rappe in terrible pain, they rushed into the room after her cries were heard from next door. Sadly, a few days later, she died because her bladder had burst. Rappe's friend claimed that Arbuckle had assaulted her and that this led to her accidental death. Arbuckle faced a manslaughter charge, but after 3 trials, he was found not guilty and the charges were dropped. Moving on to Joan Crawford, there were rumors that she appeared in a risque short film titled Velvet Lips when she was a teenager, well before her rise to stardom. When Crawford became a celebrated actress and signed with MGM Studios, the studio executives were eager to locate and destroy the film to protect her image. Eddie Mannix, a well-known MGM fixer who had connections with the underworld, might have worked with the mob to retrieve the film. They confronted some blackmailers who were willing to sell the film for $100,000, a hefty sum at the time. Some believe Mannix simply paid the money, while others speculate that he negotiated them down to $25,000 and used mob threats to secure the deal. Regardless, the film was never released. Let's look at a story with a lighter twist: the time Carol Brady went on a date with her on-screen son. In real life, of course, this didn't happen. Florence Henderson, who played Carol Brady on the popular 1970s TV show The Brady Bunch, went out for dinner with Barry Williams, the actor who played her eldest TV son, Greg. Williams shared this story in his 1992 autobiography, Growing Up Brady, I Was a Teenage Greg. The dinner took place when he was 16 and she was 36, and it ended with nothing more than a friendly kiss, after which Henderson returned to her husband and children. Henderson later remarked that she had been unaware of Williams' romantic intentions, but admitted it made for an amusing tale. Lana Turner's choice in men led to a deadly outcome. In 1958, she was involved with Johnny Stompanato, a man with ties to organized crime. Their relationship was rocky from the start. Later, Stompanato was found dead from a stab wound in Turner's home, and her 14-year-old daughter was arrested for the crime. The daughter claimed she stabbed Stompanato to protect her mother from his attack. Turner testified in court, explaining the events of that fateful night. The jury believed that the daughter acted in self-defense. However, rumors circulated that Turner might have been the one who really committed the murder and let her daughter take the blame. The death of Paul Byrne, a film producer married to actress Jean Harlow, is another Hollywood mystery. In 1932, Byrne was found dead in their home with a note that expressed regret for some unnamed wrong he had done to Harlow. The note's cryptic ending referred to the previous night as only a comedy, leaving everyone puzzled. Harlow refused to discuss the matter. Before marrying Harlow, Byrne had been in a serious relationship with a woman named Dorothy Millette. She fell into a coma, and doctors said she wouldn't wake up. 10 years passed, and Byrne had moved on with Harlow. When Millette awoke from her coma and sought to see him, Byrne is believed to have had an argument with Harlow, prompting her to leave the house. The next day, Byrne was found dead with a gun and the enigmatic note beside him. 9 days later, Millette's body was found in a river, her death presumed to be suicide. The entire saga was as bizarre as any fiction. The toxic culture of diet pills wasn't exclusive to Garland. Debbie Reynolds also experienced the detrimental effects of the studio system. MGM noticed her health was failing due to overwork and sent her to a doctor for what they claimed were vitamin shots. These injections turned out to contain amphetamines and were intended to control her weight. Fortunately, Reynolds chose not to continue with the treatments, avoiding the same fate that befell Garland. Judy Garland faced immense pressure as a young star at MGM. As a teenager, she was subjected to harsh criticism about her weight from producers and crew members, who would insult her with cruel nicknames. At just 18, MGM's founder, Louis B. Mayer, enforced a stringent regimen on Garland that included coffee, cigarettes, and diet pills to keep her figure. The studio provided her with stimulants to maintain high energy levels during her demanding schedule, and then sleeping pills to ensure she could rest. This cycle likely involved the use of amphetamines and barbiturates, which contributed to an addiction that tragically led to her premature death at 47. While many mourned her passing, few were shocked. In the golden age of Hollywood, the studios wielded enormous influence over their stars' personal lives, often pressuring actresses to terminate pregnancies to maintain their public image. High-profile stars like Judy Garland, Jean Harlow, and Joan Crawford were among those who faced such coercion. If an actress was unmarried or involved in an affair, the studio would arrange for the abortion under a pseudonym and send her to a hospital discreetly. John Lennon, a member of the Beatles, sparked outrage among some religious groups in America with his comment that the band was more popular than Jesus. The remark initially went unnoticed when published in the London Evening Standard in March 1966, but it caused an uproar after being reprinted in the teen magazine Datebook 4 months later. Some American radio DJs publicly destroyed Beatles records and encouraged fans to do the same. Lennon's later solo work, particularly the song Imagine, which envisions a world without religion, was met with immediate success and has since been hailed as a classic. Clark Gable, while married to Maria Langham, had an affair with Loretta Young during the filming of The Call of the Wild in 1935, which resulted in the birth of a daughter named Judy. To keep the affair and pregnancy secret, Young left the country during her pregnancy, gave birth in California, and later adopted her biological daughter. Judy was 31 when she learned the truth about her parentage. Gable never acknowledged Judy as his daughter publicly. Ingrid Bergman was a famous actress who people thought was happily married. But during the filming of Stromboli in 1949, she started a relationship with the director, Roberto Rossellini. Both of them were already married to other people, but they left their spouses because Bergman got pregnant. This caused a big scandal, and many people were upset with her. Some even said she was a bad influence. Despite the trouble, Bergman and Rossellini got married and had 2 more kids together. They later got a divorce, but Bergman kept acting, and people eventually stopped talking about the scandal. Jackie Coogan was a child actor who was in 19 movies, including one with Charlie Chaplin called The Kid. He earned a lot of money, about $4 million, but his parents didn't let him have any of it. In 1938, when he was older, he went to court to get his money back. After all the legal costs, he only got $126,000. But his court case led to a new law in California that helps child actors keep some of their money safe until they turn 21. Natalie Wood was a well-known actress who had been nominated for 3 Oscars by the time she was 25. However, she is often remembered for how she died in a confusing way. At 43 years old, she drowned while on a boat trip with her husband, Robert Wagner, and actor Christopher Walken, who some thought she might have been close to. Her death in 1981 was first thought to be an accident, but when new information about a fight between Wood and Wagner came out, they looked into the case again. In 2018, the police said they were still trying to figure out what happened. Thomas Ince, a well-known figure in the early days of filmmaking, was celebrating the holiday season on the yacht of William Randolph Hearst in November 1924. Ince left the party early because he wasn't feeling well, complaining of an upset stomach. A few days later, he died. While it was initially thought that he died of natural causes, rumors started to spread in Hollywood. One popular story was that Hearst, who mistakenly thought his wife was having an affair with Charlie Chaplin, also a guest on the yacht, tried to shoot Chaplin but accidentally shot Ince instead. George Reeves, the first actor to play Superman, died in 1959. Officially, his death was ruled a suicide, but there were rumors that he might have been murdered. The circumstances of his death were suspicious because he was involved with the wife of Eddie Mannix, a powerful Hollywood producer with alleged mob connections. This affair and the details surrounding his death led some to question the suicide ruling. As for Walt Disney, some people thought he held anti-Semitic views, although there isn't much proof of this. However, he didn't seem to mind being around people who openly disliked Jews. For example, in 1938, Disney personally showed Leni Riefenstahl around Disneyland. Riefenstahl was a German filmmaker known for her Nazi propaganda film Triumph of the Will, which had been released in 1935, not long before the violent anti-Jewish pogroms of Kristallnacht. Despite her reputation, Disney was the only studio head in Hollywood who welcomed her with open arms. Decades before the I Me Too movement highlighted the issue of sexual harassment, Hollywood was already a place where powerful men took advantage of women. In 2016, actress Tippi Hedren accused director Alfred Hitchcock of harassing her in the 1960s. She said he touched her without her consent, tried to kiss her, and even had a secret door installed between his office and her dressing room. Hedren discussed these experiences in her autobiography, Tippi, a Memoir, and a 2012 film titled The Girl depicted Hitchcock's unhealthy fixation on her. Charlie Chaplin faced controversy when the U.S. Attorney General James P. McGranary accused him of being anti-American. After Chaplin went to the UK in 1952 to promote his movie Limelight, McGranary prevented him from returning to the U.S. Chaplin chose to live in Switzerland instead and didn't return to the U.S. until 1972, when he was awarded an honorary Academy Award. Charlie Chaplin, the famous actor and director, was married 4 times. He was 29 at his first wedding and 53 at his last. Notably, his first 2 wives were both 16 when he married them. He married his second wife in Mexico to avoid California's stricter marriage laws. Chaplin's third marriage was to a 20-year-old when he was 47, which was more acceptable by the standards of the time. However, he married an 18-year-old in his 4th and final marriage. Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich, both iconic actresses who hailed from Europe and rose to fame in Hollywood around the same time, were rumored to have had an affair. Despite their similar backgrounds, they never publicly acknowledged any admiration for one another. Controversy arose over the 1925 film The Joyless Street, in which some claimed Dietrich appeared alongside Garbo. Dietrich denied these claims, but a film historian, after scrutinizing the footage, concluded that Dietrich was indeed in the film. The historian speculated that Dietrich's denial might have stemmed from a passionate but brief affair with Garbo during the film's production, leading to a lifelong animosity between the 2 actresses. Ted Healy, the comedian known for creating The Three Stooges, met a violent end in 1927. He was fatally attacked outside the Trocadero nightclub in Los Angeles. The circumstances of his death are shrouded in controversy, with numerous conflicting accounts leading to speculation of a cover-up involving high-profile individuals. Rumors implicated future Batman producer Albert Cubby Broccoli, actor Wallace Beery, and a New York gangster in the assault. It was even rumored that MGM's Louis B. Mayer and Eddie Mannix worked to conceal the truth. In 1951, Joan Bennett became embroiled in scandal when her husband, film producer Walter Wanger, shot her agent, Jennings Lang, after overhearing a conversation between the two. Wanger, in a fit of jealous rage, aimed for Lang's groin. Lang survived and was hospitalized. Wanger served a 4-month jail sentence, and the incident severely impacted Bennett's acting career. while filming Twilight Zone the movie in California. A horrific accident occurred that claimed the lives of actor Vic Morrow and child actors Renee Shin-Yi Chen and Micah Din Lei. They were killed when a helicopter crashed during the production of a Vietnam War scene. The film's co-director, John Landis, along with 4 others, including the helicopter pilot and the special effects coordinator, were charged with involuntary manslaughter. This marked the first time a film director faced criminal charges for an incident that occurred during a movie's production. However, after a 10-month trial in 1987, all defendants were acquitted. Peg Entwistle's story is one of Hollywood's most tragic tales. A young British actress, she moved to the United States with dreams of stardom. She appeared in a play with Humphrey Bogart and secured a few minor roles, but her career didn't take off as she had hoped. During the Great Depression, work became scarcer, and she lost her contract with RKO Studios. On September 16, 1932, Entwistle told her uncle she was going to the drugstore but instead climbed the Hollywood sign, jumping to her death from the top of the letter H at the age of 24. Her story has since become infamous, earning her the nickname the Hollywood Sign Girl. Her life and tragic end were partially depicted in the Netflix series Hollywood. Country music star Spade Cooley, known for his volatile temper and personal issues, became increasingly paranoid and financially reckless as his fame escalated. His paranoia reached a breaking point when he suspected his second wife, Ella May, of infidelity. In a fit of rage, he brutally murdered her in front of their daughter. Cooley was convicted of the crime, but was surprisingly granted a pardon by then-Governor Ronald Reagan, allegedly due to the influence of Cooley's celebrity friends. However, before the pardon could be finalized, Cooley suffered a fatal heart attack. These scandals from the past seem to surpass the shock value of many contemporary controversies. Now, we're interested in your thoughts. Were you taken aback by any of these old Hollywood scandals? Did any of your favorite actors come up in these stories? Share your reactions and join us for more discussions in the next video.